Welcome into ProBox TV's Deep Waters, where we do a deep dive into all things boxing. The big news in boxing, it's step-up time for ProBox TV. June 28th, a world title on the line. That's right, in Washington, D.C., a homecoming fight. You see the card, it is Lamont Roach Jr., 24-1-1, 9 knockouts, defending his WBA Super Featherweight Championship against Ireland's Fergo McCrory, 16-0. Young and undefeated. It's going to be an incredible card, incredible fights out of D.C. And right now in Plant City, Jimmy Smith alone in the studio, but in Plant City, we have 3 champs at the desk. And that's right, Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi, I can say it, and Lamont Roach Jr. joining us at the desk. I got to start with you, Lamont. How important is this homecoming? What does it mean to you?
Man, this homecoming is everything to me, man. The last time I fought at home was 2017 at the MGM National Harbor. I sold it out on a Thursday night. ESPN headline. I defended a youth title, if I'm not mistaken. But I told them, I promised my fans, my family, my friends that I'll be bringing a world title home, and the next time I come home and fight will be for a world title, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
You know, a lot of people don't like fighting at home. There's pressure, there's expectations, people bugging you for tickets, all that stuff. How does it feel to you, boxing at home? Any pressure at all?
No pressure at all. I've been here 1,000 times, man. Whether it's at home, whether it's in their backyard, whether it's in a refrigerator, whatever the case may be, man, that's what I'm going to do to perform.
Are you dealing with a lot of ticket requests going back home for the first time in a while?
I am, but I forward them to my dad. You know, my dad's my manager. He going to handle that.
And those can be tough when you're home, you know?
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it can be annoying, especially, you know, people like to do things last minute.
Exactly. Oh, they always go last minute.
I said this 8 weeks ago. Like, what's the problem? So that's it.
Well, we have to go South
You can always be like, hey, listen, I'm focused on the fight night, and everybody's going to understand and deal with it later. But yeah, now I'm someone I fought at home quite a bit in my career coming up, but never at the world class level. So now you have, as your first title defense, get to go home. I mean, literally, it's a dream come true. So that's congrats to you. That's great.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
We have Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi, Teddy Atlas joining us via Zoom to help break this one down. Chris, his opponent from Ireland, Fergo Mcy, you know, not a well-known commodity. You know him, though. You've worked with him before. What are your thoughts on him as an opponent?
Yeah, I know Fergo from the gyms up in New York. He trained in Brooklyn for a bit. Northern Ireland guy, good amateur background. You know, two-fisted guy, aggressive, southpaw. This is something that he's been working for a long time. A lot of dedication, hard worker, and he brings that kind of style to the ring. So I think actually the mesh of these two men's style, Lamont Roach Jr. with his boxing IQ, his sharpness, his technicality, and the roughhouse tactics of Fergal, I think, make for a great matchup.
Yeah, Paulie, you've said that before in previous fights on ProBox. It's not about the individual fighter. It's about how it comes together. When I was watching Lamont Roach, I was doing my tape study, I thought, man, this guy's tight. It's hard to open him up. I thought the exact opposite of Fergal. I said, man, he's wide open. He's real aggressive. How do you like this combination of fighters, not just the fight itself?
Well, you know what they say in life, right? Opposites attract, and that's kind of the thing here. I think Lamont sitting next to me is a bit more of a technical fighter, a bit more cerebral, and McCrory looks to kind of break things a little bit open with pressure and that southpaw stance. And so I think a lot of times with the clashing styles, they'll complement each other, and it'll make for entertainment whenever you have kind of clashing styles like that. And of course the little subtleties as well. The first world title defense for Lamont, a long time coming, really, And then for McCrory, undefeated. He's been working for a shot at a world title. So you expect them to bring their best, and that's why we're excited to have this fight here on our ProBox TV.
You know, Teddy, you've worked with a lot of champions. One of the things is that first title defense, it brings a lot out of a champion. We learn a lot about them. What are you looking to learn about Lamont Roach Jr. in this fight?
Well, first of all, what I already learned by just listening to him is he speaks well, represents himself great. He must have his father's done a good job raising him, put it that way. Seems like a great kid. So for me, that comes first, and I can see a great smile. So keep using that smile, and keep winning your fights. We wish you nothing but good. And as far as what I would expect, I would expect for Lamont to fight his fight. For me, it would probably come down to controlling the outside. He's got a great jab. As the champions just said, he's got a great IQ, controls range really well, He sets the table with the left. He eats with the right hand. He's not shy to come forward. I saw him in a fight when he has to come forward. I think he's more versatile, quite frankly. I think he's more dimensional than McCrory. McCrory likes to get inside. He's a southpaw. He likes to go to the body. I think that Lamont is obviously, him and his father are prepared for that. They're well aware of that he'll look to put some water in your basement, as I like to say, when I was calling the fights on ESPN. For me, you'd want to control the outside and try to make him, take advantage of not only of his aggression, but any recklessness in his aggression. And the only thing I would ask you, Lamont, how have you done with southpaws?
You said how would I what?
How have you done with southpaws?
I've done tremendous with southpaws. Like I don't have a problem with fighting them. Even coming up early in my pro career, I fought a guy that was probably like 4-0 when I was coming up. Probably had like 9 fights. He was a southpaw. I fought a guy that was 20-1 that a lot of guys weren't fighting. I beat him, and then his next fight was Virgil Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and then obviously I fought Jamel, and that was just a little mishaps on my way to I would say greatness. But I never had a problem with fighting southpaws. As you can see, I got it together towards the end of that fight with Jamel. And then when it comes down to Hector, I just established what I've learned from that fight and what I've been doing my whole life, man. Styles and stance really don't move me. I let people worry about what I got going on rather than worry about what they got.
That's sort of a good segue into the next question. Really, you talk about with Jamel. What would you say the biggest teaching factor was? The things you learned in the Jamel fight. Because if you look at the record of McCrory and with you, that's sort of the big difference makers. You fought at that world class level. You've been at that championship level. You are now a world champion. Things that he hasn't seen. Yeah. Maybe he's at the level now where you were when you were fighting Jamel. What changed you from that Jamel fight? What would you say the biggest lesson was?
My biggest lesson was that they aren't going to give me anything. Like, you got to understand that, okay, I was with a different promoter. Obviously, it was a top-ranked card. Jamel is the world champion. I'm the young guy coming up trying to I'm the B-side coming in trying to take the belt from the champ. It's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. He's an ex-military.
He's ex-military, he's a vet. It was built up for him to, to shine. It was for him, and for me, that was all the fuel that I needed. But it's just that I didn't attack it as early as I should have, and that's what we trained for. As you can see, like in that fight, I don't think there's a round where he necessarily totally dominated me, especially in the early rounds. It's just that I didn't put my foot on the gas. And which I should have, because that's what we train to do.
And that's what you did in the Garcia fight,
for sure.
But Lamont, we spoke off air, and I called that fight for Top Rank when you fought Jamel Herring. And yeah, it just looked like. But I watched you mature during that fight, and I've seen you mature quite a bit since that fight. You hurt him bad at the end of that fight.
I did.
And that's something that I think a lot of people don't understand. You hit a lot harder than your record gives you credit for. You got 9 KOs and you're 20.
That's what a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah. And that's something. In that fight, you were a little handcuffed. You weren't as busy, probably because of the moment, and also dealing with someone with so much experience. And it was very hard to hit. Yeah. But by the end of the fight, you look way more comfortable than at the beginning of the fight. And since then, I've seen that in your career. So how are you going to build on that moving forward with this guy, who's now in that place, like Paulie said?
Yeah, and like he did say, it's like Fergo's in the same position that I was years ago when I fought.
Right now, it's your show.
So I understand. I'm pretty sure he's training his ASS off for this fight. It's the opportunity to change your life. So it's nothing. It's for me to advance and go on to bigger and better. And I understand that. I understand that he's coming with everything he got, but I done took my bumps. It's time for me to steamroll everything.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more from Lamont Roach Jr. and his future, June 28th on ProBox TV when we come back. Welcome into Deep Waters here on ProBox TV. We take a deep dive into all things boxing. Right now, breaking down. That's right, June 28th, ProBox TV, Washington, D.C. Our crew is in Plant City. We got a row of champions. Paulie Malignaggi, Chris Algieri, Lamont Roach Jr., who's fighting June 28th. Of course, Teddy Atlas joining us via Zoom. Lamont, I have to ask, coached by your father, all right, Lamont Roach Sr., we've seen great father-son duos in boxing, coach and boxer, but we've also seen it tear families apart. What's your thought on that? How easy is it to be dad, coach? When is one active? How does it work? I'm very curious about that.
Man, our dynamic works actually very well, man. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed to have my dad as my trainer, my manager. The one thing he does know how to separate, and where I see things fail, is that he knows how to separate being a father and being a coach. And it's been ever since he took over for my cousin, who was my original trainer. Ever since he took over, he just knows how to do it, man. It's like magic, honestly. I've seen father and son duos, go left, go down the wrong path, and I'm just so grateful that he can separate the two. He's not smashing boxing down my mind every single moment. And when it's time for business, it's time for business, and he understands that, and I'm so grateful for him, man. Honestly, I really am.
You mentioned you were training with your cousin. When did that transition happen? Were you still an amateur, or was it in the pros?
It was in the pros. It was before my fight in 2017. So in the midst of camp, my cousin had tragically passed away. In the midst of one of my camps, and it was just a devastating blow. My cousin is the reason why I'm into boxing. My cousin is the reason why my dad's into boxing. My whole family is into boxing. Like, my family is a boxing family because of me, but he's the originator. He was an amateur boxer. He fought in the military. He fought in the Olympic trials, the Seoul, Korea Olympic trials. Wow. And he trained fighters. He trained number of champions. He trained Chop Corley for his championship fight, his first championship fight. And man, he just
is a lot of your career dedicated to him in that way?
For sure. I wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? I went to the gym one day. My dad was like, "You want to do it?" It's been a wrap since then. So when my dad took over,
turn a negative into a positive, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. So I just, like you said, it really is dedicated to him, because we are carrying on and finishing a legacy that he started.
That's great. And speaking of the training, I mean, you said carrying on the legacy. How has this camp been? How's preparation going so far? I mean, you got a southpaw, you got to deal with that. So what kind of sparring? You been getting any notable names, anything like that?
We've been getting in some good sparring with some southpaws. Right now, we've been having trouble finding some, but other than that, we've been having good southpaw sparring. If the southpaw sparring isn't available, then I've been sparring with Ben Johnson. He's actually on the card. I look at him as like my little brother, man. And, he's making his professional debut along with my little brother as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it's a family affair, man. I sparred with Jaleel Hackett. I spar with
good work.
Suleiman. I forget his last name, but he's a good talent at 126. Very tough guy, and beat a lot of tough guys that they thought he wouldn't beat.
Yeah, Lamont, you come from a place where a lot of good fighters have come out of there. The D.C. area, Maryland in particular. Have any of those fighters, the one that I think of first as one of my favorites of all time, one of the greatest fighters I think of all time, Sugar Ray Leonard. Have any of those fighters, in particular Sugar Ray, have any influence, or have they had any influence on you, getting into boxing in your career?
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because like I said, my cousin was he's like a boxing historian, man. When I was young, he used to make me watch Sugar Ray Leonard as an amateur. Like,
he's from your neck of the woods, right?
Yeah. He used to make me watch his Olympic fights. He used to make me watch his amateur fights when I was an amateur. And then he started showing me some of his professional fight
footage too.
Yeah, so it's just like, and I was just like, why you sending me this? I'm like, why you sending me? I'm like, why you sending me this? And then I was starting to understand. I was just like, okay.
You had started boxing or not yet?
Yeah, I was.
You already.
Yeah, I was boxing, and then he always just tell me that I'm sending you this, and I'm giving you everything you need to be the greatest boxer, one of the greatest boxers in boxing. Period. Not just a world champion, not just you're going to leave a legacy in boxing. So I'm chasing that. I ain't gonna lie, I'm chasing that.
Well, when we come,
a good guy to send you, let me tell you.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got a panel of guys who love sugar with.
Yes, yeah, and I'll tell you, man, you're lucky you're in a technologically advanced generation, right? Where you get the links, man. Back in the day, you had to call and get tapes. And you had there was a guy named Cowboy. I'll tell you a quick story, guys. There was a guy named Cowboy. He was a bit of a character. He used to have they call him. I still know his real name. His name was Cowboy. That's in New York, and they gave me his number at Gleason's gym to call him up. So I wanted to get a fight, and I was like, bro, I'm like 16 years old. I just started boxing. So I'm trying to ask him, how do I get the tape? You know, I'm saying he's telling me, I remember he told me $25 for the tape. I was like, okay, it was a bunch of fights. And I was like, okay, how do I get the tape? Do you bring it to me? Like, if you, by the way, that's not cheap. $25 is not cheap. And mind you, if you tell me I got a grade, I'll grade it, but I'm asking you, bring it to me. He goes, what? You want me to bring it to you? Goodbye. That's saying, that's a bad idea in those days either. Like, believe this guy just
Well, that's why they called him. That's why they called him Cowboy. But he didn't, you know, hard guy to control.
Did you ever deal with that guy?
Yeah, I just listen. I remember Cowboy. I hung up on him before he could hang up on me. But, John, I'm only kidding. I dealt with a guy named Bella. You remember Bella? Bella had all the tapes. Joe. Yeah, Bella. Yeah, Bella used to have all the tapes. God bless him. He's not with us anymore. But he had all the tapes. And they had a cottage industry, those guys back then. You know, Paulie, Chris, there was only a couple of them. And they had all the videotapes of all the fights. And you had to swallow them. Yeah, they really
a couple years after you. So I used to cut out from Ring Magazine. They used to have you can mail it in.
Yeah.
Saying your old. So I have Sugar Ray Leonard's whole career DVD set. And
Mom just gets licked. You too. See? VHS, DVD. I know with Cowboy. I do Ring Magazine.
It's easy now. We have YouTube, gentlemen. All you need is the link. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it is going to be the future of Lamont Roach Jr. after his fight on June 28th. We'll talk about it when we come back. Welcome back into Deep Waters on ProBox TV. There is the tail of the tape. Super featherweight division. That's right. So the championship is on the line at June 28th, Washington, D.C. Lamont Roach Jr. versus Fergo McCrory. You see McCrory 16-0, undefeated, but just getting started at the elite level. But the first title defense for Lamont Roach Jr. Jimmy Smith here in studio. The rest of the crew, Paulie Malignaggi, Chris Algieri, and Teddy, and of course, Teddy Alice joining us via Zoom. But at the desk also, Lamont Roach Jr. himself. I want to start with you, Lamont. When it comes to this fight, is there a certain pressure? We see every fight is an audition. You want to knock a guy out. You want to be spectacular, especially for your hometown crowd. About the finish of this fight, is that on your mind, or is it box and everything takes care of itself?
Well, for this fight, man, like they said in the beginning, this style matchup is going to be perfect. Honestly, I thought I thought the style matchup in my last fight was going to be perfect. If y'all didn't notice, Hector was a wrecking ball in his last 4 fights before he fought me, something like that. So that's what we train for, really. We train for high output. We train for him trying to, establish aggressiveness or whatever the case may be. So here we are again. And, I have no doubt in my mind that 99% of the time that Fergo is going to try to bring the fight. And that's what you guys are going to love. Honestly, whatever happens, whatever happens as far as I get my hand raised. But 9 times out of 10, y'all going to like what y'all see.
Yeah, so Lamont, when we talk about the hometown fight, when we talk about what you're going to see, what is the thing you miss most about being home? We talked about the possible negativity of dealing with ticket sales, but it's also a blessing to be able to fight in front of your hometown, and a blessing to be able to, perform and defend a world championship in front of your hometown. Especially when you said that the next time you'll be home will be you defend the world championships. What's the thing you look most forward to besides, of course, getting your hand raised at home? What's the thing you most look forward to?
It's the love, man. I'm looking forward to the love. These people, these guys, these supporters.
By the way, I would say the walkout.
Yeah, love, yeah, for sure. So it's just like they've been with me. They've been with me for a long time, even if they couldn't make it out to the fights, because I was fighting on good cards. I was fighting out of town most of my fights, due to me being with a nice promoter. So, all of them could make it, and I was on the West Coast a lot. So, but I know deep down that they wanted to be there, and I know that when I make that walkout, it's going to be a crazy atmosphere. I know that those people are 99% there solely to see me, and to protect the city that I have on my back, my shoulders, and that's what I do it for.
Are ticket sales doing well?
Ticket sales are doing well. Yes, ticket sales are doing well. I can't wait, man. It's gonna be packed.
You said that, what people are going to see, what you bring to the table, people are going to like what they see. And I said something on our air when I was talking about this fight coming up, that there's an old saying that when you win a championship, it makes you like 30% better in your next fight. You just step up. Everything steps up. So can we expect anything different from you in terms of what you've shown in the past, what you've been working on, come fight night, again, showing out for your fans?
I would say yes, only because maybe it hasn't been brought out yet. But I always had it in my bag, though.
Yeah.
I constantly try to get better, regardless if I won a championship or not. But like you said, even in the amateurs, it's like a thing where you win a national championship. It's just like, man, you're that much better, but you still have a target on your back. That's how I feel now. I still have I have a huge target on my back now. We make money now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's an opportunity for someone. And it's an opportunity for myself to get better and better and get my name out bigger. I'm going to come home, show that I can sell. I'm going to come home, show that they love me, and then I'm going to show whoever is watching on TV that you'll love me too.
Yeah, Lamont, like I said earlier, to me, when I've seen you fight, and obviously you're impressive. You wouldn't have a world title if you weren't, but you're impressive as a person talking right now. I always talk about, the way that you represent yourself as a champion in the ring and outside the ring. And you're doing a great job representing yourself outside the ring. I know I'm redundant with that, but it's important. And I just want to say that it's really appreciated. And the way it plays out, tell me if I'm on the right track here, because you and your dad have a fight plan, obviously, and then you have a plan B, if things go a little bit sideways. I understand. But the way for me, tell me if I'm on target without giving anything away you don't want to give away. But for me, you're gonna own the outside. You're gonna control the outside. You got a guy who's gonna try to get close to you. He's gonna try to go to your body. He's gonna try to be. I don't want to use the word rough you up, but he's gonna try to instill his will.
You can get in your
try to
rough.
Yeah, he's gonna try to instill his will on you. And for me, the way that I always put it was that when you have a guy like that coming at you, and you have a fighter who can control the outside like you can, you look to make him pay a price to get in. You look to make him walk through a bad neighborhood and then mug him as he goes through that bad neighborhood. So am I on target with the basic fight plan for you?
You kind of on target. I'm gonna tell you one thing. That walk gonna be short. Before we run in the trail, that walk to the trouble is gonna be short. That walk in that neighborhood is gonna be real short.
Because you're looking to bring him there too. You're walking to him. You're looking to walk that.
I'm gonna have my neighborhood to him. He said, "You better not walk to my neighborhood without being ready." So whenever he makes a mistake, man, that's the first thing y'all gonna notice. I'm capitalizing immediately, and I think as soon as I do that, I wouldn't even say change, because you never know, he might not even get to where he wants to be. But it's gonna be real exciting. It's gonna be real fierce. It's gonna be real punishing. I'm ready, man. I'm ready, and I honestly, I worked too hard for this fight to go to us.
Title defense is something you've been waiting for. You know, you're waiting for the championship of the world, obviously, and then that first title defense at home. You know, there's things that, you know, we dream of when we want to accomplish this, and one of those things after you win a world championship is bringing it home. So, of course, this is a big moment for you in your career that you have earned. So that's why we're happy to have it at ProBox TV.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate you guys, man, because it's gonna be a big show.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a last word from the champ and the partnership, the show that has happened June 28th. What do we think of it? We'll talk about it when we come back. Welcome back into Deep Waters on ProBox TV. You see it there, June 28th. 12 rounds for the WBA Super Featherweight Championship. Lamont Roach Jr. versus Fergo McCrory. That's right, big step up for ProBox TV out of Washington, D.C. Lamont Roach Jr.'s hometown is a homecoming for the champ in his first title defense. Jimmy Smith in studio in Plant City. We have a row full of champions. Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi, that's right, Lamont Roach Jr. himself, Teddy Atlas joining us via Zoom. Champ, my last question for you, very, very simple. How excited are you about this partnership with ProBox TV? You talked about the homecoming, talked about the platform. You know, on ProBox TV, it is evenly matched fights. It's always exciting. What's your thought on this next step in your career?
Man, to address the first thing you said, I'm very excited. I'm very appreciative. With this partnership with ProBox, they're giving me and providing me with the platform to do what I set out to do, and the promise that I made to my fans and my family and my friends to bring a world championship fight back home to Washington D.C. Man, I'm so grateful, and I'm going to seize the moment. I just feel very excited, man. It's just going to be so big. This card's going to be so big. And not on top of that, I'm providing the platform. Now that I'm giving the platform, I'm providing the platform for my little brother to make his pro debut at home. I'm providing the platform for Benjamin Johnson, who I look at as my little brother at home. And those two they've been the #1 amateur in, I want to say, the last 3 to 4 years, maybe even going back further than that, as male amateur boxers. And then not only that, my dad trains Rihanna Rios, who's opening up the main card. She's having her first regional title fight, and I'm so excited for that because I want people to see what she got. So this whole thing is just like, I'm excited for, man.
Lamont, without overlooking everything, we never want to overlook anything. Long-term goal for Lamont Roach, what is it?
Long-term goals, because I knocked off world champion already. Long-term goals, either unification or multi-division world champ. And if
you know he's lurking in your weight class?
He better not.
Big fight, big money.
Not. It's big money. Yeah.
You kind of want those guys in your weight class.
No, I do. Trust me. But he better not. I'm one of those guys, man. I don't know about. I mean, like, we're fighters.
Yeah, of course.
We're gonna see a small guy and be like, who we think he gonna come up and run? Nah, I'm not letting that happen. I'm not letting that happen. So, you know, no disrespect to him. He is one of the most talented fighters today. And I actually like him. He's a good fighter. He's one of my favorite fighters, actually. But if it happens, and it's a big if, I will try to destroy him.
Yeah.
You know? And on top of that, you know,
but you know, you have one of the key things. You have a world championship at the featherweight division.
Yes.
Keep moving up, looking for those belts, those world championships. So it could align. Things could align as long as you are performing and doing your job.
You mentioned the target on your back. It's a good thing to have.
Yes.
Because you get guys like that who are actually going to come to the weight class like, hey, look, like you said, this little guy coming up now goes, hey, this guy's got something I want. Let me get in there, get that. And that's, I mean,
you take offense to it, of course, but
fine, and as you should. But you know, you said you got that belt now. That belt comes with a lot of power, a lot of conditioning power. Got a target on it, but that target, we all want that. Yeah, so be at the top of the hill. We want everybody to run up that hill. So, man, it's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lamont, good luck, everything. And, you know, I gave you that analogy earlier about where when you can control the outside, you walk a guy through a bad neighborhood, and then you look to mug him. I'll throw one more analogy at you. Sometimes when you see those guys, I used to always say, you see those guys got a little bit of fat on their punches, you know, a little wide. You send them to a butcher shop. You cut some of that fat off, you know? And I would look for you to go to the butcher shop, cut a little of the fat off, and get the shorter, straighter punches inside his little bit of fatter punches. That sound good?
Yeah. Now you're talking my language. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to that butcher shop and we're gonna serve them up. We're gonna serve them up for sure. We're gonna put them right on a dinner plate.
Whenever you get coaching from Teddy Atlas, take it, do the best you can with it, because it is worth gold. We appreciate you so much. June 28th is going to be an amazing card here at ProBox TV. See Lamont Roach Jr. defend his title for the first time. Home crowd, Washington, D.C. Best of luck to you, champ.
Man, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's been great, and we'll see you all June 28th, Washington, D.C. Get your tickets now. It's going to be an amazing fight. Don't miss it on ProBox. We love you. We'll see you next time.